Both of these entities got themselves in massive trouble and it almost sank the US economy. What if I told you that the biggest change since 2008 to real estate has nothing to do with interest rates and something that's literally been brewing since 2019? Yes, you heard that correctly. This week it's making major headlines because our president announced his recommitment to privatizing Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae. It's massive, and I don't think enough real estate professionals understand it enough. I think consumers glaze over when they hear the words Freddie and Fannie, and it's a massive change, you guys, that could literally impact who owns a home in America. We're talking about, depending on how this rolls out, it could impact innovation, technology, flexible guidelines. This could be such a great thing for the industry, and then it could be the total opposite. We're talking about the reason that investors pull out of mortgage-backed securities and interest rates skyrocket. It could be another reason why even more people are unable to buy a home due to affordability. Very interesting debate, and I have a lot of mixed feelings on it. It's looking like it's a real possibility. I think it's important for you as a consumer to understand how this might impact you overall. Now, if you're new to my channel, hello, my name is Lizy Hoeffer. I'm a residential loan officer at Cross Country Mortgage, and I like to teach practical money tips so that you guys can make a smart decision about your housing. I have a very unique perspective of this because I've worked in mortgages since 2002. This is before the boom, before the Great Recession, before the COVID years and the post-COVID years. I have really seen a lot of economies, and I've seen how innovation in lending has been good and bad for the consumer. And because of what happened in the Great Recession, because of that gigantic housing crisis, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac have been under conservatorship of the United States. And that's very similar to the conservatorship of Britney Spears, where her dad had all the control of her money and her decisions. And that's essentially what the US government has been doing to the biggest entities that control mortgage financing or that underwrite mortgage financing. I don't think people really get it, but Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, they underwrite 70% of all the home loans done, and they have been handcuffed. They've been limited in the amount of products that they can roll out. The guidelines, their guidelines are roughly the same. There are minor differences here and there, and maybe pricing is different on certain products between the agencies, but they're roughly the same. Having two big entities that underwrite the majority of mortgages not have the flexibility to be competitive limits the consumer in the types of programs or innovation that would make things better for them. And I'm talking about innovation with down payments and affordability and terms. Back in the day, we used to have things like interest-only mortgages. We used to have more options when it came to adjustable rate mortgages. There were things called negative amortization loans. And I'm not suggesting that those loan products need to come back, but the reason they were introduced into the market in general is because of affordability. Because a person, when they own a house and they own that house for 10, 20 years, it will double in value. And when you look at people's retirements, 75% of them are made up in the equity in their home. So it isn't just a matter of should I buy or rent right now? It is a matter of will I be able to retire because I haven't been able to invest soon enough. I just want to go over what being private means because there's a lot of debate on this. People are like, oh, they just want to make money, so they're going to skyrocket interest rates because they're going to be beholden to their investors, and all it's going to do is make homes even more affordable. These were the headlines I was literally reading this week. And while that is one possibility, and I'm not clairvoyant, I don't really see that as being a possibility as a business owner, truthfully. When you're looking to create more profits, you really want to scale the number of people that need your product. In my opinion, privatizing these two companies is going to actually create competition, and that competition should solve innovation and access to more lending, actually. I think the biggest challenge that faces the housing industry right now is affordable lending products. Home values keep going up and up, and these rates are persistently staying around 6 and 7%. And because there is not a solution right now for making home payments more affordable, less and less people are qualifying. Privatizing Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac means that there could be a 40-year mortgage or a 50-year mortgage, or maybe they revisit how ARMs are done, or maybe they look at graduated payments for an extended period. But there's gonna be innovation with lending products because you have two companies that will now be competitors versus like relatives. These companies are going to have to prove their differences between one another to attract more business to them. And I just don't see them limiting it and making it more expensive as a business decision. That's just not how I think that they will roll out. Now, again, we'll have to wait and see. But I think that a lot of people's fears are unfounded when it comes to their decision making. Now, I do think that there is a possibility rates could go up if what they decide to do seems really risky and investors decide to pull their money out of mortgage-backed securities. I think any volatility with the value of a mortgage-backed security right now is going to drive rates up. So that's a fear I have. Is it for the long haul? I don't know. Again, we have so much going on right now. It's kind of crazy to think of another thing that could happen to the housing market, but we'll have to wait and see. So it would be completely irresponsible of me not to make a case for why it's important for the government to still be in charge of these entities, and that is the Great Recession. Quite frankly, both of these entities got themselves in massive trouble, and it almost sank the US economy. And I personally worked through that time, and I would hear sob story after sob story. My family personally went through it. We were house poor. My dad lost his house when I was in college. I talked to kids who felt suicidal because they had translated loan documents that their parents didn't really understand. You had so many people who well, I was told that this was the loan program to get by my loan officer, and now the economy's changed, so I can't refinance, and now I can't pay this XYZ rate. And so I definitely think that there needs to be oversight in lending, and a lot of the changes have been very positive. And part of the reason that we have such a stable housing economy and market right now is because lending got so conservative and stable. Now, I will say that, when COVID happened and they locked down and they added all those additional guidelines, and I thought that it was really tough for people to qualify again. And I thought that it took them too long to make changes to fix it. Right now we have this issue with condo financeability right now because of insurance. I think they're taking way too long to fix that. There are some lending programs that don't make any sense, these lending guidelines that don't make any sense anymore, but there really isn't any innovation, right? So those are some of the struggles that we have. But in general, I think that they've kept the housing market pretty stable and secure. And for that reason, I really like the conservatorship, but it's is it time for a change? So at the end of the day, guys, if you're in the process of getting a home loan, whether you're buying or selling, I think now and to the end of the year, I don't think anything really changes for you. These types of big dramatic shifts in an industry, they take time. There is a lot of politics that have to happen before they can actually become private entities. There's a lot of people we have to hear from. And so I wouldn't necessarily worry about it now. I think it's going to be business as usual for a while, but I do think that the commentary could have an impact short term for interest rates. And I generally think that this could be a very positive thing for the home loan industry at large. The thing is, I think the biggest problem with interest rates is this affordability problem. Before interest rates became so high, it was that home prices kept going up and up and up and up. And so we have to have a solution for this. When 38 is now the median age for first-time home ownership, I think that's a big problem. And not just for people buying houses, it's for their retirements. Owning a home is the most important part of building wealth. Delaying that means somebody won't be able to retire, means some people will never get ahead. And I'm just not for it. While there is risk to mortgage interest rates, I think the bigger problem is more affordable lending products. And so I'm hoping that this is a change towards that. And so I'll be crossing my fingers and updating you guys along the way. If you guys have any questions, please go ahead and put them in the comments below. If you found this video to be helpful or interesting, I hope you'll pass this on to a friend or family member. And if you guys are looking at financing yourselves, just remember that all of my team contact information is below and we'd be happy to serve you. All right, guys, until next time, I'll see you soon.